What's up, guys? Welcome back to Hands On channel. I'm glad you stopped by. Tonight we're going to talk about some stuff that I'm not supposed to talk about. I'm going to ask questions and I'm just going to leave them unanswered because I don't really have the answers to any of these questions, but these are the things that keep me up at night, literally. I lay in bed at night thinking, man, what is going on? What's it going to take for the American people specifically, but all people, to wake up and realize that we're being incrementally overthrown and choked and conquered by the tyrannical New World Order. I mean, I've talked about it in many videos. Many other people have talked about it in videos about the Agenda 21, 2030, the Great Reset. Now they're calling it Build Back Better. All of these other code words for taking away your freedom and liberty. And what is liberty? Well, at one of the most easiest ways to describe what that is it's your ability to choose for yourself what is right for you in your own body, as long as it doesn't hurt other people. Now, they would argue that, oh, well, because you're not getting the V, you could potentially be hurting other people. But many of us on my side are arguing that, hey, this V is untested and the experiment is ongoing right now on the populace as a whole, which is not a smart way to do experiments because, you know, we've all seen the sci-fi movies where suddenly things go wrong and the next thing you know, you've got what's the one with Will Smith where he's the last person on Earth or almost the last person on Earth. I mean, you know, this could be a major deal, especially if as many people have actually taken the V voluntarily, or have been pressured into taking the V because they were afraid or threatened by their work. And I'm hearing a lot of stories from different people I know that they're not actually coming out and threatening them, but they're saying that, you know, hey, we're not telling you got to do it, but, you know, because you're in the delivery business, you're going to have to basically consider this or do weekly testing and all this. And I'm hearing like just a report earlier that Arizona, I believe it was, or maybe it was New Mexico, they're going to now start charging a fine for people that have decided to remain 100% human. Let's just leave it at that. So anyways, it leaves me wondering a lot when I see all this stuff going on and I see the people that are behind this, Fauci, Gates, Klaus Schwab's, you know, George Soros, the Clintons, Obama, Biden. If he's really not in charge of anything. He's just the figurehead that they're using to implement all of this stuff. And then that way, when it goes to hell in a handbasket, they can say, oh, well, he was senile. We didn't know. See, they get to pretend that, you know, they get to, at the end of the day, they get to wash their hands clean and say, well, we didn't really know he was senile, even though everybody's been telling us he was senile from the get-go. We didn't know about it until the very end. So our bad. Sorry. We didn't know. So I just wonder all the time. The last question I oftentimes feel my mind circulating right before I drift off into sleep is, when will ordinary Americans say enough is enough? When will they draw a line in the sand and say, no, you're not going to cross this line or else there will be consequences? And I got to be careful. I can't say what those consequences will be, but I think you guys get the idea. This is really just to get you guys to start talking back and forth and, you know, maybe together as a collective of individuals, we can be stronger than the collectivists that want to basically rule by communism and NWO takeover of the world. So, you know, I always wonder, though, when will Americans say enough is enough? When is it going to be that they're going to be like, this is my breaking point. I can take no more. That's all there is, and there ain't no more. And they're going to be pushed into a corner and come out swinging. Well, will it be when their children are literally ripped from their parents' arms and forced to take the experimental V? Will that be it? I mean, that's happening around the world. Not so much in the United States right now, but I've seen videos in Australia over and over, and Australia is basically the test case for the rest of the world. If they can pull it off in Australia, they know they can pull it off in America, especially with a globalist like Biden at the helm and all of the people, all of the commies he's put in around him. He didn't do that by accident. So, you know, will it be when the multitudes of people are fired from their jobs and lifelong careers for refusing the Fauci Gates medicine? Will that be it? I don't know. I'm just asking the questions. I mean, it's happening right now. Even though the OSHA has pulled off, they backed off because the judge, the Fifth Circuit court or whatever, ruled against this forced V mandate and said, hey, wait a minute, hit the brakes. We're going to have to look at this. This is not constitutional. There's some other judges going on right now about how this is not constitutional. They can't legally do this. So what does that mean for the millions and millions of people that have already been fired because they stood on their morals or they stood on their religious, beliefs? What about those people? Are they going to be compensated? I mean, to the tune of $450,000 apiece, like the immigrants that are being brought over here? I mean, is that how it's going to go? I don't know. I'm just asking the question. And I think these are questions we all need to be asking every day. And not only do we need to ask them into the air or into this camera or onto YouTube like this, we need to be asking our representatives. Are they representing us? I'm not so sure. 80 House members voted on this gargantuan bill that has everything to do with spying on all the people and tracking all the people that have refused to take the V. 80 Republicans voted for that. So I would say those 80 people, and Dan Crenshaw was one of them, but I would say those 80 people are rhinos and they have to go. They didn't stand on principle. Instead, they went with, Fauci and McConnell and all of these rhinos. They went with, with Mitt Romney and they chose that side. Cheney, what's her name? I can't remember, whatever her name is. Cheney's daughter. One of the biggest rhinos in history besides Mitt Romney and John McCain. I mean, they're like the rhino crew. If there was a squad of rhinos, that would be it. And of course, McCain's gone now, but it'd be Mitt Romney and, Liz Cheney and, on and on. I don't want to get off track and get derailed here, but it pisses me off when I see this stuff and I'm just like, okay, Republicans, you got a chance to stand up against it. And yet they vote in favor of this crap over and over and over. I mean, aren't they supposed to be the opposition party? What happened to that? I mean, pretty much everything that Biden stands for, I'm against. I haven't heard him say one single thing that's pro-America. Everything he's been saying is pro-globalism, and that's not pro-America. So what will be the breaking point here in America for the population? What will it be? What will that last straw be? Will it be when people are taken to voluntary Rona camps like they have over in Australia? They're calling them voluntary. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention to this because I know it's across the pond and everything, but they've set up these Rona camps for people that haven't had the jab. And guess what? You have to voluntarily go there. And I saw one video where a woman was voluntarily being instructed to go there, and they basically told her, the police told her that, look, you got two choices. You can either get arrested, and we're going to charge you all kinds of thousands of dollars or whatever they call them over in Australia. We're going to charge you all this money in fines, and then we're going to still take you to this voluntary camp. Or you can call I can't say that. Or you can call a Rona cab, and they'll, you have to pay the fee to go there and everything. And then, it'll just be the cab fare, and you go there voluntarily, check yourself in. So basically you have the choice of going to jail or going to the voluntary Rona camp. That's your two choices. So they're trying to spin that. The gymnastics these people are doing, the mental gymnastics these people are trying to do, the controllers, the tyrants. That's how you can spot a tyrant, is they're trying to spin everything. They're trying to make it seem like something it isn't. They're trying to pull the wool right over your eyes right now, and mine too, right now with everything they say. That's how you can spot a tyrant. It's pretty easy once you learn how. Anyways, on to the next one. What will be the breaking point? Will it be the coming monthly fines for not taking the NWO juice like over in Austria? So, I mean, I'm not talking out of the pie in the sky here and pulling stuff out of my hat. This stuff's happening, and they're doing this as a test in these other countries to see if they can get away with this in America. And if you think for a second Joe Biden and his minions and his puppet masters wouldn't want something like this in America to strip us of our liberty and freedom, then you better think again, because that's exactly what they're doing in their policies. You can clearly see it. It's to bankrupt the country and bring in the NWO. That's exactly what they want to do. Build Back Better is NWO. It's just a different way of saying it. That's all it is. It's the same old story, different day. So another one I heard today is that the EU leaders are actually talking about throwing out the Nuremberg Code so they can force everyone to get the V without having the threat of the Nuremberg Trials 2.0 coming back to get them. So they want to just get rid of the old rules because those no longer apply. Because see, we got this new thing that came out of a lab in Wuhan, even though it didn't really come out of a lab, or we're not supposed to say it came out of a lab. I mean, this is just the biggest, most overt Orwellian operation I've ever seen in my life. This is just unbelievable, and it's happening. And I ask myself, when are Americans going to step up? Would the founding fathers have put up with any of this crap? I mean, 1/10 of this crap. Would the founding fathers have allowed them to shut down their businesses? Answer the question, yes or no. I can't answer it because my channel will get removed from YouTube because it's controlled by Big Brother. YouTube is part of Big Brother. They're part of big government, Alphabet Agency, Google, on and on and on. The whole downhill slide started happening the instant Google bought YouTube. It's no longer YouTube, it's GooTube, GoogleTube. So anyways, on to the next one. When will it be enough? What'll be the last straw? Will it be when we have mandatory V passports? Will that be it? Or when you have to have a QR code to go to a concert? Oh, I know, that's already happening. So obviously that's not going to be it for most people. But you notice how they do this in select areas. They never do it across the board. They try it out in a small area like they're doing in Australia and Austria and other countries, especially over in Europe. I mean, I feel sorry for our European brothers that are over there and sisters and stuff, and Australian brothers and sisters. I was just telling my wife earlier, I used to think naively when I was a kid, when I was in my teens, that, hey, if I wasn't going to live in America, it would probably be Australia because they seem like cool people. The whole place was founded on a prison colony. I mean, they're kind of got a badass reputation, but I ain't seeing that. And hey, Australians, trust me, I'm not just picking on you or singling you out. Look around America. A bunch of damn cowards whimpering. That's what I hear. Not with a bang, but a whimper. I don't remember who said that, but that's how we'll go out. Not with a bang, but a whimper. And it won't even be a whimper. It'll be people begging daddy government and daddy New World Order to save them. Meanwhile, they'll be, being treated like slaves because they are slaves. One day they'll realize that. Perhaps it'll be the collapse of the U.S. economy that would bring it on. Maybe then people, surely people would remember the foolish restrictions and lockdowns that brought it all on. Surely. But no, that was like 2020, 2019. So, that's so long ago now, most Americans can't remember that. And part of the reason we have such short memory spans is because we're constantly bombarded by this, 3-second ad burst where they show you all this different stuff. And, it's basically designed to control you. All of this stuff. There's not one thing to blame. It's everything. It's the commercials. It's the stuff. It's the constant bombardment of social media and advertisements everywhere you go. I remember in the Wild West of the internet, there was hardly any ads on YouTube, hardly any ads on any place. You'd go there and you'd be able to look at some news articles without subscribing to their channel. And then you could decide if you wanted to subscribe to their channel. Now, many of these newspaper articles, you have to subscribe to even view the full article. It's complete BS. But that's what we've turned into. It's just, that's the only way I guess they can make money because the TV industry and the cable industry has died over the years. But I doubt that, I wonder sometimes if the entire system was brought down intentionally by people right before our very eyes, would anybody in America even do anything about it? Or would they just say, oh, well, it was a good run. Freedom and liberty, well, what you gonna do? Or would they stand up and do something and say, no, man, no, this is we the people that rule this country, not you elites, not we the elites. Maybe another situation like the truck driver will get elected somewhere and, maybe we can start overturning this stuff slowly. But, I don't have much hope for that because I've seen the tentacles of the federal and state governments around the country, and they are far reaching. And there is a whole bunch of good old boy stuff going on, and you're either in the club or you're one of the plebes type of attitudes, this elitist attitude. It's rampant in all of our government. And I wish I had the answers to tell you how to stop that, other than calling your representatives and getting involved again, because that's one of the things they've done is they've put us to sleep over the years. Now no one calls their representatives or senators and complains anymore because it seems hopeless. When you get that generic email back, or even if you get them on the phone, they're going to give you some generic mealy-mouthed answer. And then after you get off the phone, you might be fooled by it because it's an illusion while you're on the phone. But then a little while later, you start thinking about what they actually said, and you're like, wait a minute, they didn't actually say anything. They didn't actually commit to anything, because they never do. That's the secret to being a good politician, I guess, is you just go around trying to appease everyone, and you don't actually do anything. Except sign bills that, lobbyists write, because they certainly aren't writing them in most cases. I just wonder, would all this stuff be enough to get Americans pissed off? If you combine it all together, maybe you throw in a smattering of super hyperinflation, and you throw in, like limited availability of products and stuff, and you start shutting down the supply chain. Maybe that would get Americans pissed off. But honestly, it doesn't seem to be. Nothing I do or say, nothing anybody does or says seems to get anyone riled up or fired up or anything. And I'm not saying to go do anything. That's, I would never instruct anyone to do anything like that. I am asking you, what can we do? What can we do? Have we already been defeated? Is it over? Did the commies win all those years ago when they declared their 45 rules for America? Go look those up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go look up the 45 goals that the communists had for America. And you tell me how many they haven't accomplished already. There's only a couple. One of them is the right to bear arms. But I feel that, generationally, the next generation, they're not going to fight for it like our generation would fight for it. The generation after that is going to, it's going to continue to be less and less and less important, because if nothing else, the globalists and the left do one thing very well. The media does one thing very well. They repeat the mantra over and over and over, even if it's a false mantra. And many times it is, like the whole thing with Russiagate with Trump. Even still today, there are so many on the left that will argue until they're blue in the face, and they'll get mad and start screaming at the sky because they truly believe that Trump and Putin were somehow, in on this whole inside deal, and there was this whole conspiracy with him and Putin and Ukraine and all this stuff. All of that crap was proven to be a lie constructed by Hillary Rotten Clinton. And she's right there by Obama now. Her and Obama. And of course, Obama's got that office there in Washington, D.C. No president, no ex-president in history has ever done that, as far as I know. In modern history, maybe in the past, ancient history, early history, that might have been more common. But in modern history, most presidents have just gotten hell out of Dodge, which is what they're supposed to do, and shut up. But he doesn't do that, does he? Very interesting times, guys. I wish I had more answers, and I also, this is one other question I really, really find deep, and we're going to leave the video with this. Let's say, for example, there were actually people standing up out there. And we've seen some small examples, some protests about the forced V's out in New York City and stuff like that. And I'm happy to see that. But it should have been, hundreds of thousands or millions of people protesting, not just, hundreds of people. So that concerns me. People just aren't willing to stand up and fight for much anymore. And I wonder, again, what's it going to take? And I also wonder this is a big one. Let's say people were actually out there standing up and fighting the tyrants right now. Would the MSM actually report it accurately? Or would they spin it? Or would they not report on it at all, like they do many things? Just to not acknowledge it at all. Even though maybe there was some huge battle going on, I'm just pulling this out of my hat, out in Virginia or something. Maybe there was some huge battle going on. And it was the good guys against the bad guys. And the media, how would they spin that? Would they say a whole bunch of right-wing fanatic, racists and stuff? And of course, they're all white guys, even though that wouldn't be true. Many of them would be multi-different races and stuff like that, the way it normally is. But Would they label it that way and then just spin it in such a way to where you wouldn't be able to tell what was really going on? I think so. I think that's the truth. So guys, be warned. It's very difficult to find out what the truth is today. That's why I ask all these questions. I look forward to reading your comments. Maybe you have the answers to some of these questions. They're not really rhetorical questions. They're meant to be answered, but I just don't know what the answers are because I just don't know. I don't feel, I look around the United States now and I just don't feel much of a pulse anymore. I don't feel much of a zest for life, much of a zest or a spirit to fight back. You know, I see all the weekend warrior patriots, that come out on 4th of July and they wave their flags, and, some of my neighbors have flags and stuff, but I wonder, are they willing to bleed for that red on that flag? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And until then, we'll see you next time.